Shalom, shalom. We want to give all praise, honor, and glory
to Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashah, Bahashem, Qadash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders of Greatmillstone for teaching us this truth according to the Bible in the spirit and power of Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashah. Alright? So we're going to start off the lesson, right? We're going into the chariots. You know, the chariots of the Most High. The things that are going to, with Yahawashah, that's coming back with Yahawashah. And now I hear already recording everything, you know, reporting everything back to the Most High and such like that. And those chariots, they're just vehicles of the angels, you know. And Yahawashah, he's gonna come back with the biggest chariot, you know. So we're just gonna go into the lesson now. Start off Exodus 13 and 21. It says, "And the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go by day and night." Right? And that's talking about the chariot, right? "He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people." So what? They were steadily being led by the chariots of the Most High, right? Which is being led by the angels, you know? You want to get that support in scripture?
This is Psalms 34 and 7. "The angel of the Lord encampeth round about them that fear him, and delivereth them."
Right? And in the times that we're coming in now, the same thing is going to happen, right? Because this is Daniel 12 and verse 1. It says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, everyone that shall be found written in the book." Right? And Michael, the prince, right? He is an angel, right? He's an archangel, right? So he's gonna first he's gonna protect us, right? And he's gonna deliver us, right? The angels, they're gonna deliver us, and that's through the spirit and power of Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashah, right? They're controlled by Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashah, right? And
you want that wisdom of Solomon?
Khan.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. "Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him, and made no account of his labors."
Right, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing right now, which is pushing this word, you know, telling these devils what's going on, you know, pushing the words of the Lord. You know, that's what we're doing, right? And then verse 2.
"When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation."
The strangeness of his salvation is having a fourth dimension chariots, you know, coming down and delivering the Lord's people, you know. That's strange, right? Because that doesn't happen. That's not a normal occurrence, you know.
"So far beyond all that they looked for." That's pretty much it on that, unless you want to keep going.
Let's go till we get to verse 5.
This is Wisdom of Solomon.
Or actually, Salakia. Verse 9, actually.
This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 3. "And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, This was he whom we had sometimes in derision, and a proverb of reproach. We fools accounted his life madness, and his end to be without honor. How is he numbered among the children of thy power, and his lot is among the saints?"
Trust no heathen is gonna get beamed up, you know. The only ones that, even if they look like Edomites, right, they're not going to be, if they're Israelites and they're of the elect, they're going to be beamed up, you know? That's how we're going to know, you know? There's going to be a separation.
We fools accounted his life madness and his end to be without honor. Oh, Salak, 6. This is our Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 6. Therefore have we erred from the way of truth, and the light of righteousness hath not shined unto us, and the sun of righteousness rose not upon us. We wearied ourselves in the way of wickedness and destruction. Yea, we have gone through deserts where there lay no way, but as for the way of the Lord, we have not known it. Right, which proves that Most High ain't dealing with them.
God.
What hath pride profited us, or what good hath riches with our vaunting brought us? All those things are passed away like a shadow, and as a post that hasted by. That's 9.
This is Wisdom of Solomon 2, verse 10. It says, "Let us." This is the wicked, right? It says, "Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged." Right? Let me keep reading. It says, "Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, and he is clean contrary to our doings. He upbraideth us with our offending the law," right? And that's what we do, right? We basically tell them they're going off. You know, we rebuke them for going off. "And objective to our infamy, the transgressing of our education," right? Because the education, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding comes from the words of the Most High, right? So if they're going against that, you know, they're going against the things. That's them being degenerates, you know? They're waxing worse and worse through the generation. It says, "He professeth to have the knowledge of the Most High, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord." And that's what we do, because that's what we are, right? I'm going to skip to verse 21 or 22. It says, "As for the mysteries of the Most High, they knew them not," right? And that's talking about the wicked. "Neither hope they for the wages of righteousness, nor discern the reward for blameless souls." And a reward for us striving for the truth, you know, being obedient to the words of the Lord is what? That salvation, you know? And I'm going to skip to Wisdom of Solomon 3:1. It says, "But the souls of the righteous are in the hand of the Most High, and there shall no torment touch them," right? Because what? We're going to be saved, you know? We're going to be saved from that destruction. You know, some of us will be killed and beheaded and such like that. But there's going to be, it's way, the heathens and the rebellious jakes, they're going to get it way worse. Real quick, this is Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 23. It says, "Therefore, whereas thou dost chasten us, thou scourgest our enemies 1,000 times more, to the intent that when we judge, we should carefully think of thy goodness, and when we ourselves are judged, we should look for mercy." Right? One more time, let me read that. Wisdom of Solomon 12 and 23. "Therefore, whereas thou dost chasten us," right? Like afflict us, right? So we can be tried as the gold, right? "Thou scourgest our enemies 1,000 times more," right? So what we go through, the heathens and the rebellious chase, they're going to go through it 1,000 times that. "To the intent that when we judge, we should carefully think of thy goodness, and when we ourselves are judged, we should look for mercy." Right? Let's get that Zechariah.
You didn't want nothing about the second death, did you? I'll hold it.
Yeah, Con.
All right, this is Zechariah chapter 5, verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For every one that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side according to it, and every one that sweareth shall be cut off, as on that side according to it. Want me to keep going?
Can you get, let me see real quick. Actually, read to, just finish 4 out.
Okay. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief.
The house of the thief is this land America, right? Hey, we were stolen. The nation of Israel, especially the southern kingdom, was stolen from the continent of Africa, you know, and Europe and such like that, and taken over here to serve slavery. Even the whole land itself was stolen from the northern kingdom, you know, and they were put into slavery, you know. Let me get that scripture real quick. It says Jeremiah 50:33. It says, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel. Can you get that scripture where it says if found in his hand.
Okay.
It says, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives, right, that stole them, basically, held them fast. They refused to let them go, right? This is the house of the thief. They still haven't let us go. Their Redeemer is, and they're not going to let us go. You know, they're going to have to be destroyed before they let us go. That's how Esau rules. Their Redeemer is strong. The Lord of hosts is his name, right? And that's even spiritual. It says Lord of hosts because it's the Lord of armies, right? It's his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon.
This is Exodus 21:16. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death.
And I'm gonna finish off that Zechariah. Zechariah 5:4. It says, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, which is the Lord of armies, which is talking about the host of heaven, the chariots, the angels. It says, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, which is talking about America, and into the house of him that swore falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. Right? Because ultimately, this place is going to be destroyed.
You want that? You want that Luke? Luke 17.
Feed me one.
This is Luke chapter 17, verse 37. And they answered and said unto him, Where, Lord? And he said unto them, Where so?
Let's go up like 2 verses.
Okay, con. Okay, yeah, con. It's a lot. This is Luke 17, chapter 34. I tell you, I'm going to start up a little bit more. I'm going to start at 31. In that day, this is Luke chapter 17, verse 31. In that day, he which shall be upon the housetop, and his stuff in the house, let him not come down to take it away, and he that is in the field, let him likewise not turn back. Remember Lot's wife. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. I tell you, in that night there shall be 2 men in one bed, the one shall be taken, and the other shall be left. 2 women shall be grinding together, the one shall be taken, and the other left. 2 men shall be in the field, the one shall be taken, and the other left. And they answered and said unto him, Where, Lord? And he said unto them, Wheresoever the body is, thither will the eagles be gathered together.
Right? Those eagles are the chariots. Right? Because what they're beaming up, the elect, you know, where it says the women grinding together, which is really talking about working, you know. And one of them is going to be taken, the other one is left. One is a part of the elect, the other is not. You know? Whatever's next.
We're going to go to Acts chapter 1, verse 9. Well, actually, hold on, let's see. We're going to start at 7 or 6. This is Acts chapter 1, verse 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? And he said unto them, It is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power, but ye shall receive power after that the Holy Spirit is come upon you, and ye shall be witnesses unto me both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth.
The uttermost part of the earth is over here in the Americas, you know?
And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same YAHAWASHI, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. Then returned they unto Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet, which is from Jerusalem a Sabbath day's journey. Yeah, that's pretty much it on
that. Let me get that Jeremiah 10. We'll mark it off real quick. It says Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at him. Right? That one of those signs of heaven is those chariots. Right? When we see chariots on the news, and we see chariots in our own life and such like that, when the heathen sees a UFO, they call it UFOs, unidentified flying objects. We don't look at it like that. We identify them as the chariots of the Most High. You know. So what we're supposed to know what that is. You know, we're supposed to know that when we see a so-called UFO, flying object that's moving at incredible speeds and that's not like the technology on Earth, we got to know that that's from the Most High, you know.
And that's why Trump's creating that Space Force, because these devils think they're gonna fight against YAHAWASHI this second coming, right? That's what they believe, which is off.
They think they're gonna win too.
Good. Oh yeah, I got an article on that too. You know, never.
Oh, let's get it. Let's get it so we can get into it. We got the scriptures lined up already, right? Because this is a we're at spiritual war. You know, we already packed the ammo. We was doing the training. You know, we're ready. You know, anything that these devils try to do is all lining up with prophecy, anyways. You know.
This is an article just came out, let me see, yesterday. It says, Trump created the Space Force. Here's what it will actually do. Like, as if these devils know. When President Trump signed a $738 billion defense spending bill on Friday, he officially created the Space Force.
Did you hear how much that was? $738 billion.
Good.
You know?
But they want to cut off aid for poor people. They created a $738 billion space
We can't
force.
even, if you drive, we live in Fayetteville, so if you drive to Raleigh, you gotta avoid these potholes, you know? You gotta be an extreme driver to get to Raleigh. That alone, you know? Because this place is just crumbling, you know, but they're spending $738 billion. What was that, annual?
Well, he signed a $738 billion defense spending bill. So I don't think it's annual. It'll be like...
That's just for this next coming up?
Yeah, It's the sixth branch of the U.S. Armed Services and the first new military service since the Air Force was created in 1947. This is, quote, President Trump. Space is the world's newest war-fighting domain, President Trump said during the signing ceremony. Amid grave threats to our national security, American superiority in space is absolutely vital. And we're leading, but we're not leading by enough. But very shortly, we'll be leading by a lot. The idea was widely mocked when it was first floated, providing fodder for late-night hosts, newspaper cartoonists, and comedy writers. Senior military officials have previously raised concerns about what it will cost, and former Defense Secretary Jim Mattis warned against rushing into creating the force without clearly defined goals. This is not a farce. This is nationally critical, General John Raymond, who will lead the Space Force, told reporters on Friday. We are elevating space commensurate with its importance to our national security and the security of our allies and partners. Raymond acknowledged it would take time to develop the force. It's going to take some time to grow this, but we are moving out with due diligence to make sure that we do this right, he said. About 16,000 Air Force active duty and civilian personnel are being assigned to the Space Force. There's still a lot to figure out, including the force's uniform, logo, and even its official song. The Space Force will fall...
They can get the hell out my face with all that bullshit.
Oh, man, this shit's funny. The Space Force will fall within the Department of the Air Force, but after 1 year, it will have its own representation on the Joint Chiefs of Staff according to the text of the law that created it. That makes it similar in structure to the Marine Corps, which is part of the Department of the Navy, but has its own seat on the Joint Chiefs. Let me see. We're almost done, but I'm trying to get the main points here. You know what? We'll probably just read it. I ain't a whole lot. The new service branch essentially repackages and elevates existing military missions in space from the Air Force, Army, and Navy, said Todd Harrison, who directs the Aerospace Security Project at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. It's about, all the different types of missions our military already does in space, just making sure that we're doing them more effectively, more efficiently, said Harrison. So you need a new force for that, though?
Yeah, they just want to...
Well, it's probably a way to hide money, too. These devils and just be like, oh, yeah, we're putting it there. And it's really not.
Even probably the elites, they got a hand in it because they're going to be going... they're going to want to go into the earth, and they're going to be trying to be sent out of the planet, when YAHAWASHI comes.
Well, hey, we should get that dig in the hill.
I had a scripture. Salaki will come back to me, Lord willing.
It will create a centralized, unified chain of command that is responsible for space, because ultimately, when responsibility is fragmented, no one's responsible. Military systems in space provide crucial information to the troops. For example, GPS satellites help the military hit targets precisely. Satellites gather intelligence, detecting things like missile launches. They're also used for communication and collect data on the weather. It's worth pointing out a few things the Space Force will not do. It's not about putting military service members in space. It has nothing to do with NASA. It's not about, according to them, it's not about protecting Earth from asteroids or aliens, said Harrison. Joan Johnson Fries, a space security expert at the U.S. Naval War College, said the kind of information gathered by U.S. space systems is crucial in warfare today. Whoever has the best information and can get it the fastest wins, and space provides a lot of that information. Russia and China may be interested in interfering with that flow of information, she said, but she's concerned that the way Trump describes space as a war-fighting domain could be provocative to those countries.
Yeah.
I bet. Personally, I don't believe that we ought to couch it in those terms, because when the United States starts chest thumping, all that does is prompt others to do the same and to bolster their capabilities, which in the long run can be counterproductive to the United States. And we're almost done here, just 3 more paragraphs. She had concerns about the idea when the Trump administration first announced the Space Force, saying the initial vision was clear as mud. It's still kind of clear as mud. However, Congress took a kind of swaggering announcement and turned it into a national implementation plan for something that needed to be done, she said. The way it is set up will allow the Space Force to start with a relatively small number of personnel and grow organically. Johnson Freeze also points out this at this point, if there ever was a war in space, the Space Force wouldn't actually be fighting it. The U.S. Space Command, a separate joint command that was established earlier this year, would be in charge of combat. So,
wow, it's just
everything's lining up, right?
Yeah.
The U.S. Space Command, a separate joint command that was established earlier this year, would be in charge of combat. Which obviously they'll probably just, combine that with the Space Force, and that's it.
They're all in the team together. You know.
So.
Which is thy sword?
You said wicked thy sword?
Oh, which is thy sword?
Okay. This is Psalms chapter 17, verse 13. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword.
God, right? The wicked, which is thy sword. The blessing of the sword was given to Esau, right? So the wicked are the Edomites, which are the Caucasians today. Even if they want to call themselves that, saying that the Edomites are the Arabs and that the Edomites have been done away with. No, we're telling the truth, you know, that the Edomites are the Caucasians, right? Real quick, Isaiah 14 and 13. It says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, right? The mount of the congregation is talking about the Israelites, right? In the sides of the north, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit, right?
Well, just to back that up, Luke 10 and 18 real quick. And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven.
God.
So I mean, it's not literal, but in certain ways it is literal, you know. So I mean, hey, what that Edomite chick say to us last week? Hey, God's words are not supposed to be taken literally. What did she say?
Yeah, she said that's exactly what she said. She said like she knew something.
Right.
Like she was gonna make us go like, we've been doing the wrong shit for all this time. That one sentence put it all together for us.
I mean, man, Esau is carnal, man.
Esau is carnal. This is Psalms 37, and I'm gonna start at 30. Let me start at 28, Salakia. It says, Psalms 37 and 28. It says, for the Lord loveth judgment, and forsaketh not his saints. They are preserved forever, right? So even us, the Israelites, cannot be destroyed. But the seed of the wicked shall be cut off. The righteous shall inherit the land and dwell therein forever. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. That's what we're doing. We're talking of the judgment. The chariots are coming for the salvation of the elect of the nation of Israel and the destruction of the heathens and the rebellious two-third Jakes. It says, the law of his power is in his heart, which is in the mind, right? None of his steps shall slide. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him, right? The Lord will not leave him in his hand, nor condemn him when he is judged. Wait on the Lord and keep his way, and he shall exalt thee to inherit the land. When the wicked are cut off, thou shalt see it. I have seen the wicked in great power and spreading himself like a green bay tree, right? And he's even spreading himself to the sky, you know, to what's it, the third, is it the third heaven?
Third heaven, yeah.
It says, verse 36, it says, yet he passed away, and lo, he was not. Yet I sought him, but he could not be found. Right? So at the end of the day, they're still going to be destroyed. Right? Let's get, do you have a scripture?
Did you want Revelation 11, after 3 days? But really 12, we're getting to 12. Sitting up to a cloud. Or you want something different?
Let me get that second address, and we'll line up with that one too. Before that, second address 8 and verse 26, it says, oh, look not upon the sins of thy people, but on them which serve thee in truth, right? Because we're not worried about the two-thirds. The Most High is not worried about the two-thirds. He's only looking at the elect, right? Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, right? This is a wicked invention, right? That Space Force trying to fight the Heavenly Father. That's wicked, right? Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in afflictions, right? Hey, the only way we can be in this truth, to really know if you're in this truth, if you're going through afflictions. Think not upon those that have walked feignedly before thee, but remember them which according to thy will have known thy fear. Because what we fear, we don't want to be destroyed. We don't want YAHAWASHI to say, I never knew thee, you know, to us. We want to be the ones that he crowns us, you know. It says, let it not be thy will to destroy them which have lived like beasts, but to look upon them that have clearly taught thy law. Take thou no indignation at them which are deemed worse than beasts, but love them that always put their trust in thy righteousness and glory. Right? And then let me get second Ezra 13. It's second Ezra 13, and this is going into that war in heaven, right? It says, second Ezra 13 and 1, it says, and it came to pass after 7 days I dreamed a dream by night, and lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the waves thereof, right? It says, and I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven. That man is talking about YAHAWASHI. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Right? That's even talking about in Wisdom of Solomon, that terrible fear. You know? Can we get that one more time?
Salat, what do you want?
Wisdom of Solomon 5.
5 and 2. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 2. Let's lock it, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they looked for.
It says they shall be troubled with terrible fear, right? And that's this scripture right here. 2nd Ezra 13:3, it says, And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, and when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that were seen under him. Real quick, can we get Revelation 1:7?
This is Revelation chapter 1, verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen.
Verse 4, it says, And whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burnt that heard his voice, like as the earth faileth when it filleth the fire, right? And that's talking about laser beams coming out of the chariots, right? Because they're bringing destruction too, right? Like we read in Zechariah 5, you know? It's in the house of the thief, and we could get it again, but you know, they're coming back for that destruction. They're coming back to take these Edomites and all these other kingdoms out of power. You know, to give all power to YAHAWASHI, which is giving all power to Yahweh. You know, for that kingdom of heaven, which is giving the power back to us because we are the children of the Lord. All right. It says, And after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men out of number from the four winds of the heaven to subdue the man that came out of the sea. And that sea is talking about from the third heaven, right? Which is talking, well, we say space, you know? That's that sea, right? Even when the Most High flooded the earth, all that rain and such, all that water, it came from the third heaven, you know? It says, But I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain and flew up upon it, right? And that great mountain is a chariot. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this, so what? It was so big that he couldn't see where it ended. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they that were gathered together to subdue him were sore afraid, and yet durst fight. So what? The American army, right? Or the American military, right? We're talking about that Space Force. They're going to be troubled with terrible fear. You know? Those scriptures where it says they're going to be as women, you know, with birth pains. It says, And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire. That's talking about them laser beams. And out of his lips a flaming breath. And out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. Right? Tempest like a storm. You know, and storms like lightning, it's going to be just like lightning. You know? And they were all mixed together. The blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight Trump's Space Force, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So Ezra saw this and he was like, whoa! Right? It says, It says, afterward saw I the same man come down from the mountain, and call unto him and other peaceable multitude. And there came much people unto him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, and others some brought of them that were offered. Then was I sick through great fear, and I awaked and said, Thou hast showed thy servant wonders from the beginning, and hast counted me worthy that thou shouldest receive my prayer. Show me now yet the interpretation of this dream. Right? And I basically broke down this dream already. You know? Let's see. Let me skip to 2nd Ezra 13-29. It says, this is going into that part talking about that other peaceable multitude. It says, verse 29, Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. You know? Oh, let me actually read a little bit of this. 2nd Ezra 13 verse. I'm gonna start at 25. It says, This is the meaning of the vision, whereas thou sawest a man coming up from the midst of the sea. The same as he whom Yahawah the highest hath kept a great season, which by his own self shall deliver his creatures talking about Israel, and he shall order them that are left behind. And whereas thou sawest that out of his mouth there came as a blast of wind and fire and storm, and that he held neither sword nor any instrument of war, but that the rushing in of him destroyed the whole multitude that came to subdue him, this is the interpretation. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. So when YAHAWASHI and the angels come back, that's the time of our deliverance. And he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. So all these people, they're going to be astonished because what? The words has gone forth, right? But they don't believe in the words of the Lord. So now that the words of the Lord are coming to pass, they're going to be astonished. It says, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Right? So this is going to be in the time of World War III. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen, which I showed thee before, right? The prophecies. And then shall my son be declared, which is YAHAWASHI, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. Right? So they're going to stop worrying about faggot Trump. They're going to be worried about trying to get YAHAWASHI. And then innumerable
nations are going to team up together to try to fight him.
Con. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as thou sawest them willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Zion, and Zion shall come and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. Right? And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor. Wow. By the law which is like unto fire. Right? So, and we're gonna, that's even talking about how we're gonna have a part in it, you know? Because that Zion, it says, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. You know, that's really talking about us. You know, the elect of the nation of Israel. Because even in the scriptures, we're going to be fighting against the Edomites and such like that. You know, we're going to get those new bodies, you know. Let's get those in Revelation that...
You want 11 and 11, or you want 12 and 7?
Let's see. Let's get the... Let's hold off on 11 and 11. And let's get the 12.
12 and 7.
Con.
You want me to start up a little bit, or just... Yeah, we can start at 7.
Come on, let's start at 7.
This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old...
Because remember in 2nd Esdras, it said that it was just dust. The smell of smoke. Let me get it real quick. 2nd Esdras, because these scriptures, they line up for a reason. 2nd Esdras 13 and 11, and it says, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burnt them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Right? It says nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. Right?
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his Mashiach, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night.
Which is really talking about Esau, right?
God. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Yeah, I can get this one. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. And then that
right, that hey, he is gonna come with that great wrath.
Link that up with you said you wanted Revelation 17 and 14 with it.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Come on.
This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 14. Well, let me read up a little bit. Well, no, 14 is good. This is Revelation chapter 17, verse 14. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Let me keep going there.
No, that's it.
Okay, come. So, the Lamb's YAHAWASHI, and, and they that's with him is the elect.
What is it? Now let's get Revelation 11 and 11. It starts talking about the salvation.
This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 11. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from thy power, from the Most High, entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them.
God. Their enemies beheld them, right? So this is going to be a public event, you know? We're not just going to be, it's going to be miraculous, you know? There's going to be members of the elect being beamed up for the four corners of the earth, you know? All this stuff that there's still gonna be Jake they're gonna still be trying to live their normal lives and stuff, got their little phones and what have you, you know, and you know, this is gonna be recorded, you know, this is gonna be published. What's that one saying? The revolution will be televised, you know, so this event will be televised.
That's why it says every eye shall see him.
God.
Shall well before him.
2nd Ezra 2 and 26, it says, As for the servants whom I have given thee, there shall not one of them perish, for I will require them from among thy number. Be not weary, for when the day of trouble and heaviness cometh, others shall weep and be sorrowful, but thou shalt be merry and have abundance. The heathen shall envy thee, but they shall be able to do nothing against thee, saith the Lord. My hand shall cover thee, so that thy children shall not see hell, right, which is the grave. Be joyful, O thou mother, with thy children, for I will deliver thee, saith the Lord. From there, this is Sirach 29 and 11. It says, Lay up thy treasure according to the commandments of the Most High, and it shall bring thee more profit than gold. Shut up alms in thy storehouses, it shall deliver thee from all affliction. It shall fight for thee against thy enemies, better than a mighty shield and strong spear. You know, because we don't have any strength. Carnal strength according to Esau, you know. We don't have his same blessing, you know.
I got a scripture for you. This is Judith 9 and 11. For thy power standeth not in multitude, nor thy might in strong men, for thou art a God of the afflicted, and helper of the oppressed, an upholder of the weak, a protector of the forlorn, a savior of them that are without hope. Right? So, I mean, we don't trust in carnal weapons, even though Esau tries to act like we're carnal. We don't trust in that. We trust in YAHAWASHI, because we know we can't. We don't have the money. We don't have the resources. We don't have the manpower.
They're spending what, $738 billion
on the Space Force, right?
That's ridiculous. We don't have anything close. We will never see that type of money.
Right.
You know, in this kingdom, that's not for us.
Right. So how can we ever go to war with Esau on a physical level?
Exactly.
Like we're not that stupid. They know we're not that stupid. But, you know, Esau's the devil.
This is Malachi 3 and I'm going to start at 13. It says, Your words have been stout against me, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, What have we spoken so much against thee? Ye have said, It is vain to serve Yahweh Bahashim Yahawashi. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before the Lord of hosts? And now we call the proud happy, yea, they that work wickedness are set up, yea, they that tempt the Most High are even delivered. I'm not going. It says, verse 16, Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord, and that thought upon his name. And they shall be mine, saith the Lord of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels, and I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him. Right? When it's saying make up his jewels, it's talking about delivering the elect of the nation of Israel. You know?
And because every tribe of Israel is described as like a precious stone, right?
Con.
So
on the
ephod.
Con. Hey, when two are gathered together, Yahawashi is in the midst, you know?
Con. Iron sharpens iron.
Let's see,
actually, we could probably... You're not looking for that for the ephod, are you?
If you find it, want to bring it out, I mean...
It's gotta be...
This is Proverbs 2, and I'm gonna start at 1. It says, "My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thy ear unto wisdom and apply thine heart to understanding. Yet if thou criest after knowledge and lifteth up thy voice for understanding, if thou seekest her as silver, and searchest for her as for hidden treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord, and find the knowledge of the Most High." Right? "For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk uprightly. He keepeth the paths of judgment, and preserveth the way of his saints." You know, because this is the more we get, the closer we get to Yahweh Bahashim Yahawashi, the more we're gonna have faith that we're protected. "Then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity, yet every good path." Right? It says, "When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh froward things," which is contrary. Right? I'm going to start and get that Isaiah 60 real quick. This is Isaiah 60, verse 8. It says, "Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows?" Right? That's, remember when we was reading Revelation 11, verse 11. You know, even reading the Malachi, chapter 3, when he makes up his jewels, this is talking about the elect being beamed up, you know, being saved. If you want to get that, Isaiah 26 and 20.
Okay.
I'm going to read down a little bit more. It says, or restart, it says, Isaiah 60, verse 8. "Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the isles shall wait for me, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy power, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee." You know, because now they're going to start reverencing us and seeing us on a whole different power scale. You know, these heathens are going to be worshiping us. They're going to be bringing us their riches and such like that. It says, "And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces which, by forces, in my book it says wealth. So it says that men may bring unto thee the forces or wealth of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yet those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet, and they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Right?
And concerning going up into the chariots and whatnot, this is Isaiah chapter 26, verse 20. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as if it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain.
And this is, to back that up, this is Revelation 15, verse 1. It says, And I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of the Most High. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. This is after the deliverance. You know, we got delivered. We're in the chariot. And they sing the song of Moses, the servant of the Most High, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are thy works, Lord, power almighty. Just and true are thy ways, thou King of saints. Who shall not fear thee, O Lord, and glorify thy name? For thou only art holy. For all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest. That's linking up with Isaiah 60, you know? What's it? Another was one. Matthew 26. And
You want that 1 Thessalonians 4 and 16?
Con.
This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 16. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of thy power, and the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds, to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words.
You know, because that's why it says, lift ye up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Because our redemption is going to come through them chariots. You know, when YAHAWASHI comes back and we get beamed up with them chariots, that's our redemption, you know? That's us coming back into our power. Right? And we're coming into our power right now, but that's a full 360 turning point, you know? Because there's nothing that they can do at that point, you know? They can barely do anything right now.
They got to make up lies and they got to do everything wicked under the sun.
They got to change. They changed the people that were in the initial attack in Philadelphia to some darker jakes.
Well, hey, and you know, Jake did. He was searching for the obituaries online. And he couldn't find the obituaries for either of those two people. So it's likely they didn't even exist. You know.
And that's what Esau does.
He got that deep fake technology. And hey, and don't be surprised if prominent people in Israel, you know, somebody robs a bank or something and they put someone else's face on these. You know what I'm saying? On the bank rob. Don't be surprised, because that might happen. Or some other wicked thing, man. I mean, Esau's the devil.
There wasn't any how was it on that busy street, but you don't see anybody witnessing to it? There's nobody on the news about it, like, yeah, we was there, we was down the street or something like that. It was all happening when the same things was happening. There was all these different stories when the Vegas shooting happened. And witnesses were all around talking about it. But this big shooting in Philadelphia, it's like nobody was there.
Well, it's just like them putting up those YAHAWASHI is coming back signs in L.A. It's like they was claiming, okay, well, we got video of other anti-Semitic attacks in the area that happened recently. They showed video of two people, but they didn't have videos of people putting up the signs in a place like LA. Exactly. They got cameras all over.
Exactly. A camera on every damn street corner, but you missed that one. Okay.
That's how you know you're dealing with the devil, so you can't expect them to play fair.
And even if there was Jake doing that, that's still out of order. That's not what the Most High said to do. You know, so we wouldn't be commanding brothers to go put up signs to the whole community and such like that. You know. And
because what's the point?
Yeah, what's the point? You know, we're already getting attention by bringing out the scriptures. We don't need attention like that. You know, we're not attention seekers. You know, we're just doing what we have to do, and that's it. You know. I'll get that. Let me go to. Let me get that Ezekiel. I think it's a good time to bring that out now.
You want me to get?
Come on, I'll get. What's it? Psalms 104, and there was another one in Psalms.
Psalm 68 and 17.
Okay.
You want this is Ezekiel.
Oh, I just found another one. Read this real quick.
Okay. 13? Okay. This is Psalms, what is it, 60?
That's 96.
Oh, okay, 96. I need to work on my Roman numerals. This is Psalms chapter 96, verse 13. Before the Lord, for he cometh to judge the earth. He shall judge the world with righteousness and the people with his truth.
You know, that's the times we're coming in. You know, there's gonna be a major judgment. You know, there's gonna be a major judgment. Where that's why he's not judging these people. He's holding back the judgment from these people, because what they are what is it? It says his sins have reached unto heaven. You know, so he's letting it stack up. So when that judgment comes, there's no refute about it. You know. And you said 64 and 17.
68 and 17.
Oh, 68. Luck, yeah. Okay.
I got that Ezekiel when you want it.
Connor's ready.
Okay. This is. Oh, Salah.
Oh, you got it.
Okay. This is Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 4. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, and a fire enfolding itself, and a brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof, as the color of amber, out of the midst of the fire. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 creatures. Well, I don't know. Did you?
Yeah, let's let's just read.
Oh, like that's right. You wanted to. Like I had it queued up to where we could skip down 15:21.
Okay.
Okay, you just want to skip to 15?
Come on.
This is Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 15. Now, as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth.
So this is saying it's describing the chariots of the Most High, right? And we skipped the part where it's talking about the angels, you know, and their faces and such like that, which is talking about their personality traits and such like that. But now we're just skipping to talk about the chariots itself. You know, we understand that the angels are piloting the chariots, and that's what we're going to get into, you know. But there's description in this Ezekiel chapter what the chariots look like, you know, the fire enfolding itself, which is really talking about lights, you know, on the chariot itself, you know. Because you got to think in Ezekiel's time, the light bulb wasn't invented. You know, there wasn't power lines going through and forth. This is new stuff. When they see something bright, they describe it as what? Fire. You know, the stars. You know, the sun. You know. Because this stuff that we have now, it says, and knowledge shall be increased. That's why we have all this technology. Right.
This is Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 15. Now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl, and they 4 had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went upon their 4 sides, and they turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their wings were full of eyes round about them 4. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them, and when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Whithersoever the spirit was to go, they went, thither was their spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels.
Right.
So like, oh, I'm sorry, there's one more.
Come on, let's get it.
When those went, these went, and when those stood, these stood, and when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them, for the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels.
This is Psalms 104 and Salaki. Psalms 104, and I'll start at the top. It says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, O Lord my power. Thou art very great. Thou art clothed with honor and majesty, who covereth thyself with light as with a garment, who stretcheth out the heavens like a curtain, who layeth the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind, who maketh his angel spirits his ministers of flaming fire." Right? So, hey, when it says, in some instances in the scriptures where it's talking about clouds, it's talking about the chariots of the Most High. You know, and that's where they are. They can take on the shape of clouds, you know, but they're really in the sky, you know. And Psalm
68.
Psalm 68.
I got it right here.
Okay.
This is Psalm 68, verse 17. The chariots of the Most High are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai, in the holy place.
See, so when you think about chariots, you gotta think about the angels too. You know, they're one and the same. You know, because the chariots are the vehicles of the angels. You know.
Good. And it also says, as in Sinai, so it's referencing back to Moses when he went up on Mount Sinai, because the chariots were there too.
Right. What other scriptures we got left?
2 Kings 6. I guess that's from the top. Jeremiah, Daniel.
I'll get that Jeremiah. We get any you tag
Also
team
got
with
Exodus
Daniel.
24 too.
Okay. Let's see what this Jeremiah is saying.
Which one you want me to get?
Daniel.
Daniel.
Before I get this, let me get this scripture out. Romans 15:4, it says, "For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope." You know, that's why we're really going into this lesson. You know, we're talking about the prophecies. We're talking about what happened before. You know, we're just basically stating facts. You know, building up our faith. You know, which hope and faith is synonymous. You know, it's the same thing. So this is Jeremiah 4, and I'm gonna start at 13.
11.
4 and 11. Okay.
Okay.
It says, "At that time shall it be said to this people and to Jerusalem, a dry wind of the high places in the wilderness, towards the daughter of my people, not to fan nor to cleanse. Even a full wind from those places shall come unto thee. Now also will I give sentence against them. Behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariot shall be as a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles." All right. "Woe unto us, for we are spoiled. O Jerusalem, wash thy heart from wickedness, that thou mayest be saved. How long shall thy vain thoughts lodge within thee?" Right? I'm going to skip down to verse 18. It says, "Thy way and thy doings have procured these things unto thee." So what? It's because of the actions. You know, because we were in the world before we got this truth. You know, but when we got this truth, we adjusted our mind, you know, and the way we see the world. You know? It says thy way and thy doings have procured these things unto thee. You know, when you Jakes, you Israelites, you know, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, when you hear the word of the Lord and you turn your face from it and you don't want anything to do with it, you're asking to get punished. You know, that's like not listening to your parents. You know, it says, "My bowels." Oh, Salaki, verse 18. It says, "Thy way and thy doings have procured these things unto thee. This is thy wickedness, because it is bitter, because it reacheth unto thy heart, which is thy mind." One of my favorite scriptures, real quick. This is I think it's Sirach 3 and 24. If you can get it for me, real quick. It says, my bowels, I am pained at my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace, because thou hast heard, O my soul, the sound of the trumpet, the alarm of war. We can't stop doing this work. You know, if we're of the elect, this is in us, and it's hard. You know, we want to. Sometimes where at work, we want to start prophesying. You know, that's how it is. You know, that's the lie. Verse 20, it says, "Destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled. Suddenly are my tents spoiled, my curtains in a moment. How long shall I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet? For my people is foolish, they have not known me. They are sottish children, they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. Right, let's get that.
Sirach.
Con.
3:24.
Con.
This is Sirach chapter 3 verse 24. For many are deceived by their own vain opinion, and an evil suspicion hath overthrown their judgment.
Con, because they don't think that the Most High is gonna do anything, you know, for the rebellion that they show him, you know.
Con.
And what they're the natural 2/3, you know. They go against everything that is righteous, you know.
Reprobate silver.
Reprobates, you know.
Con.
Degenerates, you know. But hey, they're gonna get what they deserve, you know. From the Most High, not from us, Esau. From the Most High.
Right. Gotta make that distinction.
Exactly. Let's get that. Daniel.
Oh, con. This is Daniel chapter 7, verse 13. I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed.
God.
Right, so this kingdom that's coming, it's never gonna be left to other people whatsoever.
You said we had the Exodus 24.
Come. You want me to get that?
Let me check it out real quick. Oh yeah, let's get it. Starting at 15, right? Or it's 12. We can start at 12.
Come. This is Exodus chapter 24, verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, Come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of thy power. And he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us until we come again unto you, and behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto them.
Right, so hey, that's just establishing order. You know, that's another example.
Sure. And Moses went up into the mount, and a cloud covered the mount. And the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like devouring fire on the top of the mount in the eyes of the children of Israel.
Right, let's talk about the chariot.
Right. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud, and gat him up into the mount, and Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights.
So, hey, when it's talking about, all right, see this before, it said, and the glory of the Lord abode upon Mount Sinai, and the cloud covered it 6 days. And the 7th day he called unto Moses out of the midst of the cloud. So Moses was up there for that first 6-7 days, and then the Most High called him up to the chariot. And the sight of the glory of the Lord was like the devouring fire on the top of the mount, in the eyes of the children of Israel. And Moses went into the midst of the cloud, and gat him up into the mount. And Moses was in the mount 40 days and 40 nights. Right? So, hey, that's just another example of the chariots, you know. The chariots have been here since the beginning of time, you know. And now they're coming back. There ain't nothing, For I am the Lord, I change not.
Okay.
Any more?
I got 2 Kings 6 here. I don't really remember what that one is. Let me see. 2 Kings 6. It must be from the... Oh, that's the one with Elisha.
Oh, Con, hey, that's a good one to end off anyways.
Con, okay, I wish I put where we started.
Let's see.
Oh, okay. I mean, the point is in, I guess, 16, but we can read up a little bit. This is yeah. I'm gonna read it. I'm started 2 Kings of 6:14. Therefore, he sent thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of the Most High was risen early...
Actually, start at 12.
Okay, okay. This is 2 Kings chapter 6, verse 12. And one of his servants said...
And this is the servant is a servant to the king of Syria. Okay?
And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. And he said, Go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. And it was told him, saying, Behold, he is in Dothan.
Is it looking for Elisha?
Therefore sent he thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the city about. And when the servant of the man of the Most High was risen early, talk about Elisha, and gone forth, behold, and hosts compassed the city both with horses and chariots. And his servant said unto him, Alas, my master, how shall we do? And he answered, Fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha.
Hey, so, hey, you see, the Most High is there already protecting us, you know? Already there's chariots of fire around us right now. You know, it says the angel of the Lord encampeth around them that fear him and delivereth them, you know? So really, we don't have anything to be afraid of. And what, like we was reading in Revelation, I want to say, was it 11? Love not their lives.
Unto the death.
Unto the death.
I got it. Revelation
Okay.
12 and 11. Well, I'm starting at 10. This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death.
God. So this because what, we're not in our strength. We're not in our power right now. You know? Hey, but that's a major sign in heaven when these chariots, when YAHAWASHI comes with the chariots of heaven, the more we see these chariots, the closer we are to the kingdom of heaven. You know? And what that's a prophecy right there, you know. The chariots, You know, that's part of the prophecy. You know, we're the prophets. We're watching for the prophecies. You know?
God.
But hey, with that, we're gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to
Yahawah,
Yahawah,
Bahashem,
Yahawashah,
Bahashem,
Qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Greatmillstone for teaching us this truth according to the Bible in the spirit and power of Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashah. Shalom.
Shalom.